In this lesson, we will create our pelvis jiggle controls. For this shape, we can design a circle with a crosshair. Let's go ahead and head over to our Create panel. We'll create our circle. And now we can go ahead and convert this to an editable spline. Okay, great. So we now have 4 points here. Let's go ahead and now create our crosshair in between this. Heading back over to our Create panel, we'll grab our line shape. Let's go ahead and enable vertex snap. I'll uncheck grid point snap. And we will create 2 lines. So there's 1. And there's 2. Alright, so selecting the circle, let's go ahead and head back over to our Modify panel so we can attach the other 2 shapes. I'll go ahead and choose the Attach tool and add them both. Okay, great. Now at this point, we can go in and rename this object to CSL pelvis jiggle 01. Feel free to recolor it from here. And now I'll go ahead and rotate this shape up in the y-axis. Let's go ahead and turn on angle snap. Just start to rotate to about a value of -90 degrees. Alright, great. At this point, I'll go ahead and quick align this to the pelvic bone's nub. Okay, let's go ahead and take the shape and move that out. So I'll go to the hierarchy panel and we'll choose affect object only. Now we can just go ahead and translate this out. And then test this in shaded mode to see if we like the size. I think that's going to work just fine. If you wanted to, you could always maybe scale it up just a little bit larger. You have that choice, but I think that's going to work out well. Alright, so now what we'll want to do is mirror this object across. So I'll show you a way we can do that with the mirror tool. Now if we were to just use the mirror tool now, you'll see that it's not going to quite flip where we need it to flip. So I'll show you a trick. Let's go ahead and clone this object. We can rename it. Okay, next, let's go ahead and quick snap its pivot to the grid. So what I'll do is head over to the hierarchy panel, choose Effect Pivot Only. We can always turn off Angle Snap, but I'll enable Grid Snap. Alright, so at that point we can go ahead and move the pivot to the center of our grid. And now, exiting snap mode, we can go ahead and use our mirror tool and it will mirror across just fine. We'll make sure that we have it set to no clone since we've already cloned this object. Alright, great. So, at that point, we can always go ahead and center the pivot to the object. And we know that we want the pivot itself to be right on top of our IK goal. So let's go ahead and quick snap it there. Great. Alright, so next I'll go ahead and recolor this object. And now we can work on linking these objects. They both will be linked to our pelvic control. Okay, great. So, just a matter of testing the hierarchy out. We can use page up just to make sure that we've linked to the correct object. It's good to check from time to time. And next, with them both selected, I'll head over to our Utilities tab and we'll reset the objects, collapse them down, and now we can go ahead and freeze them. Okay, beautiful. So we now have our pelvic jiggle controls in place. So guess what? We're now ready to start hooking all of these controls up, which we will begin in the next lesson.